welcome to the madness. This is a mess. I know you guys have seen me clean it out twice now. Worked a little bit on this thing. It's a 27-gallon cube, 20 long stump. All the plumbing parts are here. Only thing not here is a light. We're going to plumb this today. Okay guys, we cleaned up the tank a little bit. You got a little bit of time lapse of that. You got a little bit of time lapse of me pulling it out and pulling all that stuff out of here. Tank was originally a saltwater tank, so there was coralline algae buildup on here and on the overflow box that they installed. This was originally set up as a refugium on a big tank. So there's 2 drain holes, but they just had a piece of PVC hanging over the side to spray into the tank because it was a low flow system. I had my buddy down south. We drove it down to Tacoma and went ahead and punched the 3rd hole in it. So I'm able to use the double drains. One is an emergency, one is a full siphon, and then we use the one up here for our return. I think we're going to do a spray bar return on this. So I'll get that all squared away and get some mock-ups going, and stick with me and I'll show you kind of what we got going on. We'll shoot a little bit more time lapse of how we do this, or I'll shoot it live. I might have some tips and tricks for you guys, especially when you're trying to figure out your plumbing and your gluing. Okay, first things first. Got a goodie bag here. We've got our standard 1" by 1" slip bulkhead. So slip meaning you glue in on both sides. You've got your locking nut and your washer. So we'll get these installed and show you what's going on. Bulkheads are installed. Go over some of the parts we have. These are standard union fittings. I'm gonna hard plumb everything. I want some unions. If I ever have to take apart the input or take apart a drain to fix a problem, or if I have a leak, I need to be able to take it apart. We have a threaded and slip adapter. This is going to go on the pump. This is what allows me to glue it, hard plumb it basically up to my input. Ball valve on my full siphon drain. We'll run it on the full siphon, be able to turn it down or turn it up depending on the flow of the pump. That way we can match them and keep the level in the tank correct, and I'm not draining out the entire thing really quickly. Bunch of 45s. They'll make it nicer to come down the tank and then run it down into the sump. So these are always nice to have. A little bit of Teflon tape if I need it for the pump. Bag of 90-degree elbows, like I said, if I need them. And then I have a couple others to show you. These are optional, I guess. Basically, I've got a 1" cap. So the cap is for the end of on this. I'll run a pipe out the end. I'll put a cap on it and drill holes in the pipe, and that'll be my spray bar. I'm going going to try and find a piece of black PVC 1-inch to put in there though, so it'll blend in a little better. And then off of my full siphon overflow, not the emergency, but the full siphon, I've got a strainer cap. Now, I'm not sure if I'm going to run the strainer cap or not, but it's nice to have. Let me show you what I would add. Basically, you've got water inlets around the side and on the top. It's to keep the junk out of the from going down into the sump. Not sure if I'm going to use it. I think I might just to keep snails and stuff out. But if you put one of these in, you have to check them. If they clog, your emergency overflow is going to start going, and you will hear it. But they're not commonly needed. I just grabbed it in case I wanted to use it or not.
Sunday, snowing, and we're plumbing. This is how far I've gotten so far. Shot a little bit of a clip. Basically, they're 1 second intervals of putting all these plumbing pieces together. Thought it was kind of a cool idea. Let's dive into this just a little bit. I'm just going to shoot it on the tripod. Basically, have some 90s coming out the back. Couple pieces about the same length, another one a little bit longer, so that one's going to go into the pump. This is the Durso. It's got a 90, goes to a T, so you have air coming in, water coming in, and it drops all the way down into this one. This is my main. The one basically in the back here, that guy, this is the emergency. He sits right at the top and he just sucks water. This one is going to get cut down, brought down just a little bit, but just to give you kind of a general idea, if you look at these, they go right into the sump. Everything that comes off the bulkhead that's on the outside of the tank still needs to be glued, and then the input one here still needs to be glued, and I still got a piece to cut for here, and then drop it down into the pump chamber. Oops, I dropped that. Okay. Are we recording? I think we're recording. Okay. Let's see here. Are we square? Yeah, we're square. Plumbing's coming along, guys. Durso at the top, emergency drain. They come down. They come out the back of the tank. I'm assuming that the tank, because it wasn't a drilled tank, this is something somebody designed. There's an overflow box that's black, and then they would have punched holes normally into the bottom. This one wasn't, so it's got two 90s that come out. Got a pair of unions just to help take things apart if I have to get it, move the tank or whatnot. This other one over here, this is the input. Input's coming in from the motor down here. There's a coupling, 4-inch piece of Spaflex 245s. Comes up, and we're going to build a small spray bar for the top of this. We're not going to use the full siphon. Durso is not going to have that on it. What I'm going to do instead is the pump itself. We're going to slow down the pump, that way the drain can keep up with it instead. That way I can always be under a full siphon, and then I may have a little bit trickling into the emergency line, and I'm going to have to play with some of the levels. I know that my Durso might be a little tall. I'm going to drop it down just a hair. And then, other than that, I should be ready to rock and roll. Hey, so we're at the workbench. We've got some of this plumbing started working on. It's not the prettiest, but I do have one tip for you. Well, maybe two. One, don't overthink it. Two, Sharpie's your best friend. So, got your Sharpie. This is a standard Sharpie with a fine point on one end, usually. But, you know, Sharpie. Your joints. Mark your joints. When your plumbing, hope they can show this, has complex angles,
the angle to the dangle. You go in and off, 30 degrees this way, off of 45 and a 90. But you're not going to figure all that out without marking the joints. So, like I said, every one has a mark on it. That way, you can figure out how the heck you took it off, A. B, how you're going to put it back together. Nice thing is this is technically two joints. I got a 45 and I got a 90. Union's in between. What that allows me to do is, if the union moves, if I loosen the union, I can actually rotate this and then tighten it back up. If I had another joint down here, I'd want another union between it. Use the unions, put them between your joints. Well, it's almost done. It's a little bit ugly. Got some purple fingers, but it's ugly, but it's effective. Only thing I got left to do is to glue 1, 2, 3 of the 90-degree elbows in, and I just need to glue them in to the bulkheads, those two joints there and that joint there. We did stagger our unions, by the way, so if you're doing these two here, this union and this union, you should offset, especially if they're this close. What'll happen is you'll go to unthread them and they'll be hitting each other. Let me see if I can't bring this down and show you a little bit better. Yeah, pretty much just this one and that one are shorter than each other, and then you can see we added our third one over there. That way it makes it easy to take the pump out and service it.